Hello and welcome to 2 Car Pros. Today we're going to be covering a catalytic converter test guide. Okay, so basically a catalytic converter does one thing, takes harmful exhaust gases that the engine makes during combustion and converts them into more environmentally friendly gases. There are basically two situations in which a catalytic converter is no good. First, the catalyst material breaks apart and plugs up the catalytic converter, or the catalyst material inside of the catalytic converter just gets old and simply stops working. The first thing we need to do is get the engine and catalytic converter hot. So you're going to drive around your car for quite a while, probably about 15 minutes, to ensure that the catalytic converter is at operating temperature. Next, we're going to grab our thermometer and point it at the top of the catalytic converter. If the catalytic converter is built into the manifold, measure it at the top of the can or the round part while not getting the manifold itself. Next, we're going to use our thermometer and check the bottom temperature of the catalytic converter. If it's anywhere from 50 to 100 degrees under what it was at the top of the catalytic converter, we know that inside the catalytic converter is either plugged or the catalyst material is not working. If your engine is low on power and you suspect the converter is plugged or broken, raise the vehicle up and wiggle the exhaust system around in its rubber mounts while listening for rattles, which is a clear indication of failure. Next, to test this, we can loosen the exhaust flanges from the manifold. This will create an air gap between the head pipe and manifold, which will allow exhaust to escape. Of course, it'll be a little loud to test drive, and we don't recommend you drive the car for long periods of time, but if your engine power comes back a little bit, you know that your catalytic converter is no good. You can also remove your O2 sensor. This is another way to test if your catalytic converter is plugged. It's not as good as loosening the head pipe like we showed earlier, but there will be a difference in performance if there's a blockage in the catalytic converter. Our final test here involves attaching a vacuum gauge to a vacuum port on the intake. You may need to remove a vacuum feed line to the evap system or another component temporarily. Start the engine and allow it to idle as you observe the intake vacuum. This is your vacuum rating baseline. A normal gauge reading should be about between 16 and 21 inches of vacuum. Next, we're going to have a helper rev the engine to about 2500 RPM. There should be a brief drop in vacuum as the throttle is opened, but it should return to nearly the baseline pressure you had at idle within a few seconds. If this reading takes longer than a few seconds, the exhaust system is plugged. An additional test is to keep the engine at about 2500 RPM and watch the vacuum gauge. If the reading is low or continues to drop, this is a good indication that there is a blockage in the exhaust system causing back pressure to build. This is most likely a bad catalytic converter. Hey, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please visit 2carpros.com, give this video a like, and we'll catch you next time.